Good afternoon. How are we doing, Niner fans? It's another day. It's another day of the off season, and we got a little bit of news to talk about. Yesterday there was some reports saying that the 49ers were going to tender their exclusive rights free agents, and they officially did today. So we'll talk about that. Talk about Demetrius Flannigan Fowles news, because I know that's circulating right now, and a couple more rumors, because why not? The rumors are always popping in the off season, and there was more today, and we'll get to it. First and foremost, I want to say what's up, everybody. How's everybody doing? Hope everybody's doing well today. It's Tuesday, February 18th, 2025. It's another beautiful day in the Bay over here. And the 49ers today, they released linebacker Demetrius Flannigan Fowles, a special teams ace. Now, it might seem a little surprising, but as I kind of did a little bit more research, I realized it's more of a procedural move. This is kind of what Matt Mayoko was saying, that it's not really surprising to him. Apparently, Demetrius Flannigan Fowles was on the injured reserve. We knew that. He was deemed a minor calf injury, right? He had a calf injury throughout the year, and they had placed him on the injured reserve. So they were going to release him when he got cleared. And then he was scheduled to be an unrestricted free agent anyway. So it feels like this was going to be something where the 49ers were like, okay, we're going to release you into free agency. We got to make the move happen anyway. So Demetrius Flannigan Fowles was basically set to become a free agent. So it's the 49ers saying, all right, you're not on the roster anymore. We're going to release you into the waiver wire, the free agency market, not the waiver wire, the free agency market. And you go and test the market, and maybe he'll be back. So I don't know if we've seen the last days of Demetrius Flannigan Fowles. He's pretty much a really strong special teamer, for the 49ers. Now, is he a starting caliber linebacker? Not necessarily, but he's a guy that the 49ers have brought into the lineup. They've developed him. They kept him on the practice squad. They, placed him on the roster as a starter at times, and they put him in as a special teamer. So I feel like the 49ers are going to probably bring him back if they have the money. I don't think you're going to spend a lot of money to break the bank on Demetrius Flannigan Fowles. It seems like the team likes him, but you never know. Last year, they released Oren Burks, who was more of a special teams guy too, and he caught on with the Eagles and was pretty damn good, if you ask me, with the Eagles this year. It's crazy. He did like a career resurgence. So you never know. Demetrius Flannigan Fowles might be back. You never know. But this is a little tidbit here that David Lombardi had tweeted out, and this was actually a really good point. He says, expect new special teams coordinator Brant Boyer to have some influence over players, for his special teams unit. You got to realize they do have a new special teams unit, special teams coordinator, Brant Boyer. So maybe if a guy doesn't fit in with his liking, he's going to get rid of him. So this could be a move that's, parallel to the new special teams coordinator saying, hey, you know what? We're going to move on. We're going to get somebody else. Maybe he has players in mind, right, that he wants to bring in. So you never know. Or it could just be, hey, the 49ers want to bring him back. We'll put him in the free agency market, and then we'll kind of go from there. So according to this tweet from Lombardi, he says that Demetrius Flannigan Fowles had 1,284 special team snaps over the past half decade for the 49ers. So, yeah, that's a lot. He played over 1,200 special team snaps. He was like a perennial special teams guy for this team. So it's a big change if he does not come back. I know a lot of people were not like huge on DFF in terms of, linebacker ability overall, but special teams, he was not bad, so we'll see if they bring him back. That was the big news update of the day. Demetrius Flannigan Fowles, he gone. What's up, everybody? Let's see. My man, 49ers media says he's sad that they released DFF since he went to Arizona. Yeah, I know that's your boy, but you never know. He might be back. We'll see how it goes. Steven Reynolds says it is sad Flanny has to go, but Boyer will identify new core special teamers. This is the first notable change, more likely to follow. Yeah, I agree, Steven, that this is going to be, a changing of the guard. 49ers brought in new coaches. You expect them to have new players according to who they want to associate with themselves. So, the 49ers were a 6-win team last year. You got to make some changes. It's unfortunate sometimes for some of these players, but it is a business. And the 49ers, again, you want to get better. Sometimes you're going to have to move away from certain players. You can't get attached to everybody, right? There's going to be a lot of players that will not be on the roster moving forward. Now, you know who's still on the roster? Jake Moody is still on the freaking roster, man. It's crazy. My man MSQ says DFF got DFF'd. Wow. He got that's pretty funny. That's a good one. A couple other news here. So as we noted yesterday, the 49ers were intending to sign the exclusive rights free agents, and today they did. They made it official. So after they cut Demetrius Flannigan Fowles and released them into the wild of the free agency market, they officially signed their 1-year deals for their exclusive free agents. So they're signed. They're back on the team. They'll either be on the practice squad or whatever the case is, or maybe they'll make the roster. You know, like some of these guys did make the roster, but those players are Sam Okununo. He's the defensive lineman. He was pretty good. Sam O, I liked him. I think he, stepped up. He made a good, role for himself on this D-line. I think he'll be able to continue to add to this D-line and add, another depth piece there. I liked him. I think he'll stick on, and I feel like he'll make the final roster as the season starts up next year. So I like that. Sam O, another young guy that I really liked, Evan Anderson, defensive lineman. He was undrafted free agent last year, and he was solid. So I liked Evan Anderson. They're bringing him back. Alex Barrett, he was another defensive lineman on this team. He was okay. He was up and down. He played through a lot last year, and I think that they liked what they saw. And worst case scenario, he's going to be back on the practice squad. So 3 defensive linemen who are probably going to be at least on the practice squad. I see Sam O making that 53-man roster next year, even Evan Anderson. But again, we'll have to see what free agency happens. We don't even know who they're going to sign, if they're going to bring in anybody, who are they going to draft. So as of now, if I had to make an early roster prediction, I'd say Sam O makes the 53, maybe even Evan Anderson. Those 2 guys are pretty solid last year. And then they brought back Jalen Graham, the linebacker. This guy's been, he's very talented. He went to the Commanders last year. They brought him back. He was on the practice squad. He was like on and off with the team. He has talent. I think the 49ers really need to focus in on him. Maybe he takes a special teams role with DFF gone. I don't know. But Jalen Graham is back. Offensive lineman Austin Pleasance. Honestly, I couldn't tell you if he really did anything with the team. They had a lot of injuries. I'm sure he got rotated here and there. He was mainly a practice squad guy. But Austin Pleasance, pleasantly back on the roster. Whatever. He might not even make the final roster, or he might make the practice squad next year. But he's back. And then tight end Jake Tonges. He's back. That guy is terrible. He's absolutely the tight end, man. They need to upgrade tight ends. He was, I won't say he's terrible, but he wasn't like, oh my God. The 49ers need to upgrade that tight end spot next to George Kittle. But Jake Tonges is back. And then Braden Willis. Sorry, this guy is absolutely terrible. They drafted him, but he's back. He'll probably make the practice squad. So that's it. They brought back Sam O, Evan Anderson, Alex Barrett, Jalen Graham, Austin Pleasance, Jake Tonges, and Braden Willis. Those are the guys the 49ers brought back on exclusive right free agent tenders. They're back for 1 more year at least, and we'll see if they can make anything of it, if they can make the final roster, if they're special teamers again. We'll see. But this was one of the first procedural moves you got to do. Off-season's coming. They're going down the list. They got their coaches. They got their exclusive rights free agents. Now they can go focus on restricted and unrestricted free agents in the next couple of weeks. March 12th, new league year. And they'll probably make some more announcements about coaches here and there in the next couple of weeks. And then they got the combine in about a week or so. So it's getting down to the nitty-gritty. And then in April already, you turn around, you blink, boom, April comes and it's the draft. So the next 2 months going to be pretty good, pretty busy for the 49ers in terms of getting this roster set and making everything needed to be done so they can continue to hopefully contend in 2025 and beyond. So let's see. Let's take a look at some of the questions here. My man, 49ers media says, Sam O could be a great rotation guy as long as we make big changes for the starting lineup. Yeah, Sam O was a good rotation player last year, and I think he'll continue to get better and be a solid rotational piece next year. My man, Steven Reynolds, he says, Evan Anderson will make a pretty good impact and great depth. Solon Kosaric view him as the new DJ Jones 2.0. I can see it. This guy has potential. He's very good in terms of his, run stopping ability. He was a force on that D-line last year in the interior. He's a rookie. They gave him a pretty hefty guaranteed amount of money. I think for a, undrafted guy, he got one of the better, undrafted rookie contracts. So this guy is a guy they really cared about. And I think they made it a commitment to bring him in and develop him. And I think he'll definitely be a pretty solid part of their defensive line rotation, I guess. I agree. My man Chris Teal says, how do you feel about any of the free agents that we could pick up at wide receiver? Amari Cooper, Ronnie Stanley, Trey Smith, Stephon Diggs. Stephon Diggs, him and Cardi B can go take care of each other. I don't really think we need Stephon Diggs. He's washed to me. Trey Smith, not horrible. He's a little older. Ronnie Stanley, I actually wouldn't hate that move. I think that'd be a solid move at tackle. Now, unless you can really go upgrade in the draft and go get like a stud that you could have for a couple of years, right? Will Campbell, Kelvin Banks. There's a few guys out there, but I wouldn't hate one of those guys. Amari Cooper, I feel like he's got all this hype. I thought he was going to be great with the Bills. He went to the Bills and he did nothing. I wouldn't hate him on the Niners, but I don't know if he's, Amari Cooper from 2 years back, and you don't know what Amari Cooper you're going to get because he was cooking, right? With the Browns, he was looking good. He was solid. Oh, my God. And then he went to the Bills, and he's like, who's Amari Cooper? So you don't know what Amari Cooper you're going to get. He's been in the league for a while. I wouldn't hate getting Amari Cooper. We do need a veteran. I like his abilities, in terms of his skill set. But, again, you need a guy that's quick. He can kind of speed down the field and stretch the field, and I don't know if Amari Cooper gives me that. But, I mean, at this point with the salary cap and signing Brock Purdy and everybody, I wouldn't hate Amari Cooper, actually. But, I just would temper expectations. And you're not going to get Amari Cooper from a couple of years back when he was like, holy smokes. But, last year, here's the thing. I remember last year there was a rumor the 49ers were going to send Brandon Ayuk to the Browns, and the 49ers were going to get Amari Cooper. I was all over that. I was like, yeah, let's do it, because Brandon Ayuk, right, he was being Brandon Ayuk last year, and then all of a sudden, you had Amari Cooper, who was looking great coming into the season. So, I wouldn't hate it, but I would temper my expectations for Amari Cooper. Peter Park says Braden Willis couldn't catch a cold. He couldn't catch COVID if he was standing in front of a COVID patient and they were coughing in front of him. That's how bad it was. Stephen Reynolds says, no kidding. They need to draft a tight end in round 3. Elijah Arroyo is the best view. My view on him. Yeah, I like the fact that the 49ers can get a pretty nice tight end in this draft. We say that every year, though, and then they go and get Braden Willis and, Cam Latu. So, I don't know. Maybe their tight end evaluation is just not as good as we think, because we saw them draft George Kittle a couple years ago, and ever since then, like, they cannot hit the broad side of a barn. And in terms of getting a tight end, everybody else they got a tight end has been abysmal. I don't know. Maybe you go get Warren at pick 11. We all know the Penn State tight end Warren. He's an absolute dog. He's a can't miss prospect. Probably going to be one of the next best tight ends in the league. But do you take the 11th pick on a tight end when you need offensive linemen and there's so many other talented players? Will Johnson, like Daniel Jeremiah was talking about today. When you have that type of talent staring at you, do you take the tight end? I don't know, man, because you have such a stacked roster. But then you have to realize Kittle's going to be gone in a few years. I mean, he'll extend and he'll be back. But then you have Kyle Juszczyk, who might not be back this year, or maybe he has one more year left with the Niners. You can kind of take Warren and make him your fullback / tight end too. I don't know. But the Niners have not done well in getting a second tight end. So trade for Kyle Pitts. I want to stay away from Kyle Pitts. Please stay away from Kyle Pitts. This man, every year you get the same. Oh, Kyle Pitts, he's gonna do it. The year's gonna be 2035, and people are gonna say, finally, Kyle Pitts will be a superstar. So let's see. I think we need to see Cowing on the first team. We'll see. I want to see what Cowing does in training camp. That's definitely a guy that we really don't know. He didn't get a lot of opportunities, although he did play special teams. So maybe that's what it was. They wanted him to develop in that area. But I think wide receiver is going to be an interesting competition going into training camp, as it always is every single year. But I like Cowing, but I don't know if he's going to be a first team rep type of guy, but we'll see. I know, Ricky Pearsall, he's the guy that I think everybody expects to take this huge leap. And then you got Juwan Jennings. Debo's probably gone, most likely, right? And then Brandon Ayuk, who knows when he's coming back. So they definitely need to add a wide receiver. I like Jacob Cowan. I think he has an opportunity here with all these, rumors of Debo going and all the injuries and this and that. So he needs to take advantage of this opportunity for sure. Let's take a look. Take a look at some more of these questions. We need to see Mason Peline develop and play. I like Mason Peline. I thought he was, a talented tight end that they had last year, undrafted. Maybe they add him back later down the line in the practice squad, and he does something, right? So we'll see. We'll see. If you were the GM, how many signs and draft D linemen if it wasn't able to trade? Let me see. If there was no trade, if we weren't able to get Garrett, Crosby, and Joy, I'm not too sure. I just know that we need to stack up that D line. You need to get a DJ Jones. I think you guys asked earlier, should they get DJ Jones? Absolutely, get a DJ Jones. Maybe go get Mason Graham, and you can draft him. I don't know. You again, 11th pick, you're going to have the ability to get potentially, a Mason Graham. You can maybe go and get DJ Jones in free agency. Maybe you can figure out a way to get DeForest Buckner back on your roster, but you need to get at least 2 good interior D linemen. That way, Malik Collins and Jordan Elliott, they're more depth players. I don't think they're qualified to be starters, as we saw last year. You need to really upgrade those positions. That way, if Malik Collins was a backup defensive lineman at tackle, a defensive tackle, I think you'd be well suited. Now, if he's your second layer of your defense, then you're like, wow, it's better, because then you'd upgrade over him. He wasn't horrible. I don't think he's a quality starter. You see what I'm saying? So you get a DJ Jones and then Malik Collins. That'd be a pretty nice, 1-2, and then Evan Anderson. That'd be a nice 1-2-3 right there in the interior. So that's kind of where I look at it. Edge, obviously, they need some help for Nick Bosa. We say it every year. They got Floyd and Bosa. Other than that, they really didn't have much defensive edge rushers, that were worth a damn. Like, I feel like they didn't get enough pressure, and they never were in the backfield enough. And Nick Bosa got hurt. So then after that, it was just like they weren't getting enough pressure on the quarterbacks. And when you don't get pressure on the quarterbacks, there's a lot of pressure on your secondary, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So, yeah, I would definitely go and get a good, a really good secondary, a really good defensive lineman and 2 good edge rushers. You need to have at least 2 guys plus Leonard Floyd plus Bosa. So they need to go get 2 edge rushers this year. I don't know if it's going to be free agency in the draft, whatever they got to do. They got to bolster it, because Drake Jackson, he's been hurt. I don't think he's going to make this roster. And then you also have Robert Beal, who just didn't hit, right? He's been lackluster. So they've had some lackluster drafts at that edge position, and it just hasn't been able to give them too much, in terms of getting pressure. They also got, last year, they had Yetur Matos Gross, but he was hurt most of the season. He was okay when he finally came on, but I just don't see him being enough in terms of that edge. So you got to bolster. Of course, we want him to bolster the O-line, but I think the same goes into the D-line. They have to really fix the trenches. So we'll see how it goes. Again, they did re-sign they officially assigned their exclusive free agents to 1-year deal. So as we stated, recapping that, Sam O, Evan Anderson, Alex Barrett, Jalen Graham, Austin Pleasance, Jake Tongas, and Braden Willis. Those are the guys that they brought back. Now, there was some rumors, again, of course, over the last few days. This morning, Daniel Jeremiah, who, from Move the Sticks, he's one of the biggest draft analysts out there. He's a guy. He knows his stuff. He did another mock draft, his mock draft 2.0. Whenever he drops a mock draft, everybody gets hyped up. Oh, my God. And he drafted for the 49ers at the pick 11. Will Johnson, Michigan cornerback. This guy was a stud. He was like a cornerback lockdown extraordinaire. If it wasn't for Travis Hunter, this is probably your best cornerback in the NCAA, arguably. He's one of the best. So Daniel Jeremiah has the 49ers drafting Will Johnson. He says he's a scheme fit. His size will play well in a division featuring wide receivers built like power forwards. He's got the size, so of course you want to match up against them. He had 3 pick sixes during his career at Michigan. He's a playmaker. He's really good. But I think a lot of people, their consensus on taking Will Johnson at 11 is they want an offensive lineman. They want a D lineman. And I agree with that. But now, if let's say one of the best offensive linemen or all the offensive linemen that are really quality are off the board at 11, do you want to reach for an offensive lineman just because, or do you want to take the best player available? And that's what it comes down to. So I think Daniel Jeremiah on this draft pick was looking at the draft board and saying, well, the 49ers are probably not going to be able to take a top-tier elite offensive lineman, a tackle at 11, so they're going to take the best player available. And he thinks best player available at 11 was probably going to be Will Johnson. So I feel like that's kind of the argument here. If you take Will Johnson, I don't hate him. I don't hate the pick. I think I'd be ecstatic if you get him, because then you'd have Will Johnson, Diamo Lenore, and Renardo Green we all know Travis Ward's probably gone this offseason, so you replace him with a stud at, cornerback. You can move Renato inside. You can move Diamond Lenore inside, or you can keep them on the outside and put Will Johnson in the middle at nickel. So who knows? But that's what Daniel Jeremiah has the 49ers getting right now. I think last time he had us, if I remember correctly, it was a offensive lineman. Let me take a look back at what he had last time. I can't remember off the top of my head. Let me look back. So Bleacher Report, Daniel Jeremiah, where did his pick? Let's see. What was his? Oh, here it is. Daniel Jeremiah's first mock draft. This was on January 27th. Daniel Jeremiah of the Draft Network has the 49ers selecting versatile offensive lineman Armand Membu at pick 11 in his first mock draft of the year. So this was back on January 27th. He had them taking Armand Membu, but things have changed since, and he believes that the top tier linemen are probably going to be off the board at that point, and the 49ers would go best available and take Will Johnson at cornerback. Well, so we'll see. Mock drafts are going to change every week. That's why I don't always make mock drafts. People get mad. It's just a guessing. It's just a prediction, and people predict. But he's in the game of predicting, and a lot of times he's right? He's pretty good. He's usually spot on. But that's the prediction from Daniel Jeremiah. So my man 49ers media says, I am tired of Michigan players. None of them worked out for us. Yeah, the vast majority of Michigan players that the 49ers get, probably not good to take them. Ambry Thomas, Ronnie Bell, Jake Moody. If you think about the most recent Michigan players the 49ers had, you probably want to stay away from Will Johnson. So I don't hate the take on that. So we'll see. My man said, what would be the price range on Trey Smith? Man, I think he's going to be expensive. I think he's one of the better players out there on free agency. So I don't know if the 49ers are going to be able to sign a guy like Trey Smith. I think he'll be expensive. Let's see. Trey Smith, market value. Let's see if we can get some. Let's see what we can look at. So Trey Smith right now, he, obviously, let's see what he's going to be 24 years old. Oh, and he's one of the top free agents on the market. Oh, it's going to be expensive. Let's see. As of February 2025, Trey Smith's market value is estimated to be around $78.8 million over 4 years, or $19.7 million per year. This would make him one of the highest paid offensive guards in the NFL. So, yeah, I think that probably lines up about 19 to 20 million per year. I don't know if 49ers can afford that. Good player, but I think he might be out of the 49ers price range. You never know. You absolutely never know with that. So that's a lot. It's a lot of money. He will be pricey. I agree, media. Steven Reynolds says, if they're not going to come Moody, then I would bring Spencer Schrader from the Chiefs. We used to play the Jets 4 games under Boyer for competition. Maybe that's the move. I would keep an eye on that. I'll keep an eye on that name, Spencer Schrader. I do think the 49ers are going to bring in a veteran kicker at some point to compete with Jake Moody. You cannot keep Jake Moody on the roster and not bring in anybody. I think the Niner fans would be absolutely disgusted. I think that's a travesty. You have to bring in some competition. You can't let Jake Moody keep getting away with this stuff. He can't keep getting away with this stuff. Like, I know you drafted him in the 3rd round, but you got to take the L. And if you're not going to cut him, bring somebody in to compete with the guy, because I mean, it's just been bad. And drafting him, we all know it put a lot of bad pressure on him. So I think the draft is April 15th. If I remember, let me see. When is the NFL draft? I'm pretty sure it's the 15th of April. Let's take a look. April 24th. Sorry, April 24th through the 26th. So the NFL draft is April 24th, Thursday through Saturday, April 26th. And it is going to be in Lambeau Field in Green Bay, Wisconsin. Ooh, I was there this year. That's going to be nice. Shout out to Lambeau Field. That's a good place. So April, a couple days after my birthday. So let's hope that we get a birthday gift and the 49ers get us a good draft. So I'm excited for the draft. And the combine, I believe, is coming up 27th of February, right? The NFL combine. Let me see. Pretty sure. I think it's next week, right? NFL combine 2025 is going to be February 27th through March 2nd. Wow, Lucas Oil Field. So the 27th is next Thursday, all the way to March 2nd, Sunday. So we got about a week and a half until the NFL Combine. Let's go, man. Am I going to the NFL Combine? I'm not sure. They haven't emailed me back. And if I am, I need to know by this Friday so I can make plans, because I got patients that I might need to see. And if I do, I got to move them all towards, beginning of the week. So I don't know. Hopefully I get an email this week, but we'll see. Good news is the 49ers, John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan are probably going to be there, and we get to hear some news updates from them. I need to hear from, Lynch and Shanahan, man. I need to hear from them because it's been a little too long. And we haven't even heard from Robert Saleh. What's going on, guys? Give us some updates. You know what I mean? So we'll see how it goes. I'm excited for the Combine. I'm excited. And then right after, 10 days after the Combine is done, the NFL new league year. Woo! We'll see. All right. Let's see. A couple more questions. When is the mock draft? When am I making my mock draft? I don't know, man. I should make a mock draft. I just never have time to do a mock draft lately. I should make a mock draft. Maybe if I have some time this weekend, if I'm not running around doing stuff, I'll sit down and take some time to do a mock draft. We'll see. Spend all the money. This is our last crack at this, especially at Super Bowl is going to be at Levi Stadium. The Niners got to go all out, man. You have to go all out if you're going to be, having a Super Bowl in your own home stadium. I hope the 49ers go absolutely all out. I know the 49ers, my man Chris Teal says, I know at one point the 49ers were looking at Jalen Johnson. He could be a good pickup since Mooney Ward left. I mean, honestly, there's a lot of options. Jalen Johnson. I know today there was rumors from ESPN about Asante Samuel. That's a guy that the 49ers could possibly target now in free agency. He had a little bit of a shoulder injury last year, but this guy has solid, abilities, playmaking. You can put him in the slot. You can put him, on the outside if you need to. Put Renato in the slot, whatever you got to do. But it's a guy that can really replace Mooney Ward. He's got the talent. He's very young. I think, 24, 25 years old. So a good young player with upside. And I think he would be great in the 49ers system. Another guy, DJ Reed, who has a lot of experience with Robert Saleh. I think that DJ Reed is definitely a guy that you can keep an eye on, and hopefully Niners try to pursue him. So I definitely think the 49ers are going to be in the cornerback market this free agency period. I'd be surprised if they weren't, but you never know. We sit here and we see all these rumors, and then none of it comes to fruition. So it's nice to dream about it, but again, who knows? But yeah, Jalen Johnson, Asante Samuel, DJ Reed, these are all names that are being thrown out there for the 49ers to go get. So we'll see. The home team never makes the Super Bowl, says Mr. Breezy. I think it's happened twice now. Let me see. Home team Super Bowl history. I think the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and Los Angeles Rams are the only teams to play the Super Bowl in their home stadium, winning both games. Obviously, they win in their home stadium. So, yeah, Tampa Bay and the Rams both played a Super Bowl at home. Could be the 49ers this year. And if the 49ers make it to the Super Bowl in their home stadium, you got a good chance of winning because it's a 2-0 record. Can you imagine? I don't even want to throw this out there, but could you imagine the 49ers make it to the Super Bowl in Levi Stadium, home game, and they lose? I'd be so sick. Could you imagine they become the first home team to lose a Super Bowl at their home stadium? I hope that's never going to happen, but I just want them to make the Super Bowl and win. At Levi Stadium would be perfect. I wouldn't have to go too far. So Rams and Bucks back-to-back. Yeah, it was like back-to-back years. You're right. Tampa Bay and the Rams technically were the road team. Yeah, it's crazy. Crazy. Do I think the 49ers will go out? They better do. They better go all out. Honestly, if they don't go out, I'll be pissed, man. The 49ers have to. This is your Super Bowl's in your damn home stadium. If you don't push it in and go crazy this offseason, that's gonna be so unserious, So After 31 years, they need to do it at home. I know. My man, 49er Media says, Super Bowl? Let's see how the offseason goes first. Come on, man. Think positive. Super Bowl? Yeah, you're right, though. They got to have a strong offseason. If they want to even think about playoffs, Super Bowl, you got to have a good offseason. So I agree. Spend, says Ryan McDonald. F them picks. I agree. Steven Reynolds says, my take on free agent is DJ Reed gets signed by the Raiders, reunited with Pete Carroll, and gets a big bag of money. There's two best options is either Asante Samuel Jr. for nickel or Carlton Davis. Oh, I like Carlton Davis. That might be good. I like Asante Samuel because we don't need a CB1. We already have Lenore. I think Ronaldo Green is a very good cornerback. People are counting him out. He had, 13 PBUs last year? Guy's a dog. He's only going to get better now with more playing time. He's going to be the starter with Ward out. So I like it. I like Asante Samuel, if I'm being honest. DJ Reed would be nice, but I could see him chasing the bag somewhere. But we will see how it goes. That's a good point, though. I could see DJ Reed maybe going back to play with Pete Carroll because Pete Carroll coached him when he was with Seattle. You could be right, but he could also go with Robert Salah with the Niners. So it's going to be interesting for DJ Reed. He has options. He can stay with the Jets. He has no more ties to them because they got new coaches. He can go to the Seahawks, and he has ties to them. Not Seahawks, sorry, the Raiders, and he has ties with them because of Pete Carroll. Or he can go to the Niners, and he has ties with them because, A, they drafted him, and then Robert Salah. It's going to be interesting. It's probably going to be probably going to be the team that gets in the most bag, I would say. We'll see. Ryan says trade for Kyle Pitts. I've given up on Kyle Pitts. I wouldn't trade a ham sandwich for Kyle Pitts. Every year it's to say, Kyle Pitts has untapped potential. Maybe it's the Falcons that don't know how to use him, but I feel like Kyle Pitts is just a guy that he's just going to be one of those guys that could have been great, but never will reach that potential. I don't know. P2, a free agent, Patrick Surtain? I don't think so. Is he? Is Patrick Surtain? I think he signed a contract, right? He signed a contract. He signed a 4-year, $96 million contract extension back in 2024. Yeah, so he's definitely not a free agent. Patrick Surtain, he signed a 4-year extension last year. Guy's a dog, man. He was, I think he's the highest paid defensive back in the league, as he should be. He's unbelievable. Guy's a dog. Any case, well, that's it for today. A lot of news. Well, not really a lot of news, but a lot of, things to cover in a short amount of time. When you let all the news updates stack up, you can get a good 30 minutes of show here. So very good. That's pretty much the news. If anything else drops, we'll definitely come back live for that. We'll probably be live with Larry Krueger tonight, about 7:30 p.m. Pacific, as we always are on Tuesdays. I'm probably going to hop on KMBR too around 6:15 or 6:30 p.m. Pacific with Larry Krueger. I'm going to hop on, chop it up with Larry, and then we're going to chop it up again on our Tuesday show. So tonight I'll be busy with Larry, KMBR, all that good stuff. So I'll see y'all tonight. Whatever he's got cooking, we'll definitely be talking and everything. But appreciate you guys. Make sure you hit that like button. And I will see y'all later tonight. Go Niners.